Today we're going to talk about seasons. I have picked a first grade standard that talks about the amount of daylight we get for that time of year. The materials you will need for our activity, the season tree, are crayons, Fruit Loops, glue, preferably stick glue, the tree worksheet, and the other worksheet. Why do we have seasons? We have seasons because the Earth is tilted on its axis. When the Earth is tilted, it determines how much light the Earth receives, giving us our 4 seasons. Well, what is Earth's axis? Earth's axis is an imaginary line that goes from the top of the bottom. Earth rotates on this pole with one full rotation every day, which gives us our night and day. Does all of Earth have the same seasons? Not all places have the same seasons. And why, you may ask? Since Earth is tilted on its axis, the northern and southern hemispheres get different amounts of light. This causes the northern and southern hemispheres to have the opposite seasons. So what are our 4 seasons? They include spring, fall, summer, and winter. Our first season we will talk about happens March 19th to June 20th. This is fall in the southern hemisphere, and this is spring in the northern hemisphere. The sun shines equally on both the northern and southern hemisphere. However, the seasons are different due to the season that happens before. If it was winter before, the ground and water will be cold, making it spring. If it was summer before, the ground and water will be warm, making it fall. So for us in the northern hemisphere, it would be spring. So let's get out our worksheet and answer some of the questions. What are activities you like to do in the spring? What are items that grow in the spring? What is the weather like in the spring? And what colors do you associate with spring? Our second season we're going to talk about happens June 20th to September 22nd. This is winter in the southern hemisphere, and this is summer in the northern hemisphere. The sun shines directly on the northern hemisphere, making it warmer or summer. The sun shines indirectly on the southern hemisphere, making it colder or winter. So since we are in the northern hemisphere, it would be summer for us. Let's look back at our worksheet and answer some of our questions. What activities do you like to do in the summer? What is something that grows in the summer? What is the weather like in the summer? And last, what colors do you associate with the summer? Our third season happens September 22nd to December 21st. This is spring in the southern hemisphere and fall in the northern hemisphere. The sun shines equally on both the northern and southern hemispheres. The different seasons are different, like I mentioned before, because the season that happens before it. If it was winter before, the ground and water will be cold, making it spring. If it was summer before, the ground and water will be warm, making it fall. Let's look back at our worksheet. Since we are in the northern hemisphere, it would be fall for us. So what activities do you like to do in the fall? What are some items that grow in the fall? What is the weather like in the fall? And what colors do you associate with fall? Our fourth and final season happens December 21st to March 19th. This is summer in the southern hemisphere and winter in the northern hemisphere. The sun shines directly on the southern hemisphere and the sun shines indirectly on the northern hemisphere. Let's look back at our worksheet. Since we are in the northern hemisphere, it would be winter for us. So let's think. What is your favorite activity to do in the winter? What is something that grows in the winter? What's the weather like in the winter? And last, what colors do you associate with winter? After you've finished filling out your worksheet, let's look over it. Are there any seasons that you could not think that anything grows? Are there any colors that you specifically associated with a certain season? So to begin, we have all our materials set out. So I have a little thing of Fruit Loops that I have had. So I'm going to take and open these and dump them out onto my page. Now you can see that I've separated all my Fruit Loops into their colors: yellow, orange, red, purple, green, and blue. So now let's take a look at our other worksheet we completed earlier and separate our Fruit Loops into the colors we associated with each season. Now that we have our Fruit Loops separated, I'll tell you how I separated mine. I put blue for winter because it's cold outside and I think of stuff being blue. green and purple for spring because I think about the stuff that is growing, such as plants. I picked red and green for summer because I think about how hot it is, and then green for the green leaves that are on the trees. I then picked orange, yellow, and red for fall because I think about the leaves that are changing colors. Once you have separated your Fruit Loops by their color with the season you associate them with, let's look at our tree. First, we need to start with our number 1 tree. So let's take our glue, and if you have not stick glue, it'll still work too. But let's take and glue our tree limbs. Once you have glue all over your tree limbs, we're going to start with our colors of spring because that is the first season we talked about. So take your Fruit Loops and place them on your tree branches to be your leaves. And you might need to keep putting glue on as you go to get your Fruit Loops to stay. If you're having trouble getting your Fruit Loop to stick on your tree, try pressing it down on your glue like that, lifting it, and then placing it on your tree. After you finish your spring tree, we're going to move on to our second tree. And the second season we talked about that happens after spring is summer. So let's get our Fruit Loops that we associated with summer. For me, mine are green and red, and let's place them on our season tree. After we finish our summer tree, we're going to move down to our next season tree, which would be fall. So let's get our colors we associated with fall. Mine would be orange, yellow, and red, and place them on our fall season tree. So now that we've finished our fall tree, we're going to move to our last season tree, which is winter. So pick what color or colors you associated with winter. For me, I only associated the color blue with winter, and let's place those on our season tree. After we finish all our season trees, we're going to take our crayons and mark our seasons. I'm going to choose just a black mark crayon to write my seasons on, but you can pick any color you want. So let's go ahead and fill in our seasons. After we've marked our seasons, we can go in and add different things we want to add to each of our seasons, such as for winter, you could add some snowflakes, or for spring, you can add some flowers. So let's go ahead and design our own little spots for our season trees. So as you can see, I added raindrops and flowers to my spring, and I added some snowflakes and some snow to my winter. So once you've finished your season trees and you've made them your own, upload them so we can see what you did to yours. Let's discuss. You can write these answers on the back of your worksheet. Why do you think you associated certain colors with the seasons you did? Is it the temperature outside, the colors that are outside, or maybe the activities that can take place? 2. Why do you think certain activities happen during certain seasons? Is it the temperature that's outside, or maybe the time of the school year? After learning about why we have seasons, how about you write a sentence about your favorite season?